Cream corn, shaken up, not open, and thrown in the campfire.
Yeah.
We'll blow the logs out of it.
Yes. So we'll actually can of tomato soup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certain canned items blow better. Yeah.
Yeah. We found that out. We didn't know that was a thing.
Welcome back to Too Soon, fellow assholes. Today we're just going to get into it and have some fun.
Yeah. So the next topic is the reality of what people see on TV or these series and stuff versus when we were kids versus kids nowadays. So I'll give you an example, like some of the videos we'd watch, a kid would get in a bike wreck. I think there was one where a kid gets ran over with a $1 million check or one check or something on his bike, and you get hit. You see them in cars, but jumping bikes, doing whatever. We'd actually go out and do those, jump bikes, do stuff like that. So we kind of had an idea of how bad shit hurt to a certain extent on kids. Then it got to your like Roadhouse type of movies, and they're like getting hit, punched, kicked. And as a kid, I was like, oh yeah, that's badass. I get tough. And then as you get older, you're like, there's no fucking way anyone could take that many beatings in 30 seconds.
Yeah. Endurance of a fist fight only lasts
like 30 seconds, and then you're going into like 4 montages with you're on your 5th song going in there. So it was like, oh yeah, it kind of brought full circle.
I mean, Rocky doesn't last 15 rounds in real life.
Not against the Russians.
Ain't so bad. You ain't so bad.
But like nowadays, they're in the kid shows and stuff. There's nothing that's crazy.
They don't show it.
They don't show any of that crazy stuff. And there's none of the kids out testing like blowing up their knees. I just like don't see a lot of that shit. We were like, wow, we had a sense of how dangerous shit could get, or maybe it's just my dad beat it into me. But yeah, like the Fast and Furious, my daughter was like, I'd love to walk with this person. I'm like, it's all about family. And, I'm like, she's trying to tell me how she's watched all of them, like, and the other day she had no idea what an emergency brake was. Well, that's how we did it. I mean, I didn't know until the drifter thing. You wanted to drift a corner.
You fell it ran on 3 of the 4 cylinders. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, you freaking crank that brake. But so it's like, I don't know if they've had I don't even know where I was going with that. That was kind of a Marcus Patrol moment right there.
With all due respect.
All due respect. But on the podcast, I rambled.
Yeah, no, I'll take it. So there's a post-safety reality that's inherent in most shows and television programming nowadays compared to us. We didn't grow up we were right before like skateboard helmets and bike helmets. If you fell off your bike, it kind of hurt. We didn't have knee pads. I mean, there was, but skating was just like the newer thing, Thrasher and all that stuff, right? So most kids didn't go with arm pads, knee pads, helmet, and probably mouth pad. I mean, bull riders didn't wear helmets back then.
No.
So
I think you're required now in a lot of sports.
And then someone wear face guards. Those are the football helmets. But now they don't show that. The consequences of some of those showed up in TV shows that you watch. You saw the kid. I mean, I wasn't a big skateboarder, but there were some movies that showed the kid in the whole swimming pool, just fucking wiping out. Nowadays, they just show the kid all wrapped up in bubble tape or bubble wrap and doing his thing on there like he's already a pro and he's 2 years old. And so I think they show the afterwards effect of all the safety precautions in place. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do
Do you think there's any stats to support that helmets for bikes at a certain age even help? I think I had this argument with my sister at some point because it was like maybe till they're like 5, 7. They're just going around the freaking the court or the fucking cul-de-sac stuff like that. They're not really getting hardcore. So does the helmet really help?
I haven't seen firsthand if you don't wear a helmet what happens.
Right.
I know what could from common sense, but
Yeah,
I haven't seen firsthand wipe out what a kid looks like with it.
yeah. See, well, what data is like
Since
we implemented helmets for children, we've seen a downtick of. Because I never knew anyone was like, oh shit, did you hear Steve? He wasn't wearing a helmet.
Like Steve looks like a watermelon.
The lemon head.
No, there's not. But the equipment's changed too. The skateboards of, I mean, even what my mom and aunt and shit were riding the banana boards or whatever they call them. They're like super skinny ones. And then what my brother was riding was like the
longboards.
yeah, they had the longboards and then they switched to those kind of the thrasher tournamenting ones. I don't know what to call them. Sorry, I'm not a skater, but yeah,
I think it's called Tony Hawk.
One of the people, yeah, but the equipment has evolved. Same with bicycles have evolved as well. So I have to assume that yes, there's probably data how you separate it from all the evolutions and. I mean, football, they wore leather helmets, and now it's got crazy pads in them and everything.
I would have to say it's saved for lengthening a lot of people's lives because there's a lot of fucking stupid people out there that I think made it through those years because of helmet and safety equipment that probably shouldn't have.
Probably led to the boom in
Modern dipshittery. Like
Darwin skipped a couple opportunities, maybe.
You think fucking Dr. Helmet or whatever, whoever invented the helmet, is like kind of just like, you know what? Shouldn't have done that one. Shouldn't have done that.
Dr. Helmet, PhD.
All right, Mr. Mr. Helmet, it's Dr. Helmet. But yeah, like, you know how there's the, like, Oppenheimer or whatever, Nobel. So one created or helped create the atomic bomb, and then dynamite. Like it was a great creation. They thought they were doing great, but then when it was used for evil or for whatever you want to call it, I think the bicycle helmet and pads like that. It's fucked up. I wish I wouldn't have done that for society. I could have helped them out better in the long run.
Well, the interest and attention to watching some of those shows. This kind of goes back to what we talked about before with commercials and stuff. There's so many channel options now, and follow along with the like. If you went out hiking and found an old mine shaft, which is possible around here, and you found a stick of dynamite,
know where the fucking mine shaft is? What are you alluding
to? So if you found what appeared to be one, would you know it's a stick of dynamite?
Yes.
And two, would you know to leave it the fuck alone because it's probably volatile and there's some dangers in here of just even touching it, right? To an extent.
I think if it was glycerin, the glycerin type,
would you know how to tell?
Well, no.
Would you know what it means if you can read the word glycerin?
Yes, I would.
You would.
Yes. Oh,
but no. You would.
Yes.
Partially because some of the channels that we grew up watching, right?
Yeah, but I'm thinking, man, if I was a kid.
You're like, oh, it's dynamite. I've heard of that before. I'm going to take it and maybe be inclined to land it off. Yeah. But they don't know of just how dangerous it could be for it just to be laying there.
I mean, but I grew up off the Roadrunner, so I know how dangerous it is.
If it doesn't have the boom boom box, that's fine. No, but there's just they don't, and then that's just because of they're not introduced to having to watch sometimes. We could argue too many channels, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm not sure how we got to too many channels on that one.
Well,
I'm trying to follow the rabbit hole you got me.
We had like cartoons and commercials, and then we had like Discovery and PBS and shit like that, where you pre-internet channels, we call education channel.
Free cat rooms.
Limited channel, yes, limited internet. But now there's just so many options of stuff that they'd rather be watching.
Oh yeah.
Where it goes back to that safety of we grew up seeing one version of it and what could happen with things, and the inherent dangers of first-hand experience of holding like a ladyfinger firecracker in your hand versus not throwing it.
So with that, do your boys seek out? I mean, I know one probably just seeks out anything it does with animals, but do they ever seek out like explosives, firing guns, any of those types of movies where it's like, so when they look at an action movie, or do they even like action movies? Because that used to be ours. It was like, hey, you want an action movie? Because there was going to be a ton of just stupid blood and blowing up, like
military movies. One of them, my youngest likes the Fast and Furious movies, which
Fast and Furious.
They'll both
all 15 of them.
They'll both find interest in like Lone Survivor. They'll both watch that, but not like classic Arnold Schwarzenegger, like Commando or
Sylvester. Sylvester. Stallone. Like Rambo coming out of the jungle. 50 caliber.
Yeah.
Something that should be on the back of a jihad vehicle.
Should be on the back of a Toyota.
That's weird. That doesn't look like a Toyota.
Yeah, no, you do. You definitely, you grew up learning those things, but no, they don't. Like for my oldest, guns are just a tool of his trade, which is hunting. The other one, he's gone to the range with me, but not consecutively. And for explosive, like fire, our introduction is to a lot of explosives and fireworks.
Yeah.
Certain realities around here.
Do you let that prevent you from partaking in the exploding?
I have some, but so I didn't grow up. My brother always had them, and I remember chasing each other with fire, like the little lady fingers and stuff like that. But we didn't grow up being like 4th of July wasn't 4th of July. The holiday was fine, but it wasn't like around here.
Yeah.
At all. We live like several miles out in the country, so you didn't go somewhere to go watch the fireworks.
Did you have to have high fence where you lived? Because
no
local community of deer and stuff like that.
No, it was local community.
Just I don't know because
I didn't just live in that state. It wasn't a thing. Fireworks were not the focus of the 4th of July.
See that. I feel incomplete if I don't have a Tupperware full of firecrackers, stuff that will explode. So every year as my supply dwindles down, I'm out at the places that are allowed to legally sell those items that are only supposed to be used out in those areas. You could catch a good casino activity in these areas. You know what I'm talking about? But anyhow, so I always go there after or right on the 4th of July, get some of those because that was all 4th of July was, for blowing stuff up, making regular fireworks into firecrackers. Confiscated fireworks were the best. Yeah, there is no way my dad was not a little bit of a crooked cop because a lot of 4th of July were punished by other people's mishaps. Just or Dad really cared about 4th of July. Throw that.
Yeah, no, we never. It just wasn't a.
Yeah, I would think out in the country it'd even be even more of a thing. I guess you were blowing up stumps with dynamite all day.
No.
How? Filling up the field.
No, I mean, I remember being up with other relatives and shooting bottle rockets off my grandma's diving board. Yeah, she lives in the city on an incline, so they all go out above the bluff and explode over people's houses and then you're on the side. I remember, I know and can appreciate the firework, but I don't get excited for it, and I think that's probably trickled down.
Dude, right now I'm getting a boner just talking about firecrackers.
Probably need to move the table out a little bit.
Oh man, I need a cold shower. I'm just talking about
next question. No, I can appreciate it, but I don't go out on it, and I think that's probably hindsight, I should have done it just so the boys could appreciate it, but they don't ask, but I don't think they know what to ask about.
Well, I think this 4th of July, we need to pull out my arsenal. Let your boys fondle the arsenal in front of the camera and everyone.
I've acquired fireworks that I have in ammo cans that
Yes.
I'm not 100%. I think I know what they are, but I'm not sure.
I can help you out.
Yeah.
We'll get the boys around, because what I worry about is you're going to go up to college where all these other gentlemen have fondled an arsenal of, your throbbing rocks, all the other crazy, just out there, monkey spanks, all those different ones. And they're going to try and mess with them, the boys, and they're going to blow out their fingers or something shitty because they're not going to understand the difference between the fuses. So my daughters are well versed. They've been letting their own crackers since they've been 5 or so. Plenty of burnt shirts from the fuses going. But yeah, no, I think that would be a good video segment. Some good old fashioned shit.
I think the boys know that propane bottles don't explode like they do in the movie.
No,
But they did experience that.
you know what does fucking explode? Oxygen. I didn't understand pure oxygen and how dangerous it was. I'll tell you a little story here. So we used to get lots of fire extinguishers, and we did the test, with the where you take some matches, light them, and then shoot the propane cylinder, trying to get it to ignite and stuff like that. So, we were at this, I guess you'd call it a campground, and off to the side of the garbage can was a cylinder, a little silver cylinder. I was like, hell yeah, I'm like, cool, that's kind of like a fire extinguisher. So we took it out to the range, 100 yards, set it up, hit it with a 5.56 round, and it blew up, out and up, fire from an oxygen tank.
And the ignition source was the spark of the
Must have been.
bullet penetrating, because we did.
Must have been. You've seen those signs, like oxygen use, no smoking, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess it is that extremely flammable. We were lucky it was wintertime for that, because
fire to
just burn in the desert. Yeah.
We could have cooked some beef up there. There was now we tested I witnessed a testing of a propane, but we did a road flare.
Oh,
behind it. It just froze out the road flare.
really?
Mm-hmm. It was at, I don't know if it was at the 50 or the 100 yard range. But there was another time going back to the generational thing, the kids nowadays would just assume the propane tank would explode. Our generation is, well, let's go test the theory.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
or a car just explodes. That one's the one that always kills me. Like 2 shots into the engine, it's like, what in there made that explode? Was it lethal? Or did were they carrying the gas jugs in there? So we were hood?
The other propane test we did, and this was at a campsite that was empty, and it wasn't a paper camp.
It was just you and your boys, or just you and
somewhere in the friend.
So we alone in the boonies, non-pay site. What do they call that again when you're in non-pay site camping?
So it wasn't stealth camping.
It wasn't stealth camping.
It was legitimate. So one of the little campfire ones, we built the campfire in it, and
is it soft camping?
No. So we drove down there and we took one of the little green propane bottles and set it right in the center of the fire.
Oh, okay.
Then we drove up real quick, and I don't know how many yards, and we took 17 HMR. And I punched a hole right in that green bottle. Of course, it's at night, so you can't see it, but you can't see exactly where the green bottle was. You just kind of aim for the center, and then there's a fucking mushroom cloud of flame. It was like, oh, that's good for tonight.
Huh?
There was no dams or any structures around it. Yeah, so in that experience, there was flamage, And the other experience with a flare, it just, because you know how propane freezes,
Yeah.
it blew out the flare and froze it.
Didn't they do it on Mythbusters too?
It did good. So when I watched that episode, I was like, ah.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I didn't need Mythbusters to know that it didn't explode because we jumped. I can admit, I know the first one that I actually shot at. You know, the bigger, I think they're well over 100. They must be like 250 pound tanks. The ones that weigh on the side.
Yeah.
That was the first thing we ever shot at as kids. And I'm sure it was 22s. I remember it was out on the desert. I don't even fish propane. But of course, we're like 50 yards away, freaking out, shaking, like, oh, let's shoot it. Yeah. No, but of course, the whole time, like, oh my God, it's gonna be a cotton bomb. You have to run.
They're gonna helicopters and everything are gonna be on it.
The president's gonna find out about this. And then as you got older, you know, using the little 5-gallon ones and the little green ones, it's not like the fucking movie. And then, you know, testing stuff out, we may or may not have had an old $500 car that we shot up at one point, and it never exploded, no matter how hard we tried. Now, this was before Tannerite.
Yeah.
What? Before Tannerite. Yeah, you had to test that shit out.
I haven't used Tannerite very much. I've gotten it once, tried it, and it was kind of anticlimactic.
Oh, fuck.
If you're the shooter, you're shooting down it, so you kind of miss, like,
see,
it wasn't anything.
I'll have to see if I can find the video. We did it at a friend's house, and it was, I think I did it wrong. You can buy these bigger ones and separate it into like 2s and 3s and shoot it. Well, I didn't know that, and so I just took the whole thing and put it on a log and then put another log on top of it. So it was a Tannerite sandwich. And we were out at 100 yards. Well, it was kind of windy that day, so my logic was I'll keep it in the spot. I didn't know what to expect. And shot it, and that fucking log went so far. I don't even know how. 5 million miles in the air. You know, it was but it went fucking like really high. I'm terrible because I skybust birds all the time, so it was well over 100 yards in the air. It threw the log, and the neighbor comes out, "You're blowing up the mountain!" And like, just, so I was like, "Well, I'm out."
We grew up doing. So yeah, we may not have purchased fireworks, but we had homemade. So cream corn, shaken up, not open, and thrown in a campfire.
Yeah,
we'll blow the logs out of it.
Yes. So we'll actually a can of tomato soup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certain canned items blow better. Yeah.
Yeah. We found that out. We didn't know that was the thing. We were up at a kegger when I was younger, and someone brought some cans for making chili and shit, and they got drunk really quick, passed out, and we ended up eating whatever. And we were cleaning up, and we threw that can of tomato paste or whatever it was, tomato something in there, and I was overtaking pee. I didn't know it was going to explode, and we were. And same thing, like the coals are chipped up everywhere. We're like, what the fuck? Well, it got so hot, the liquid taste melted through some people's tents and shit. Like it was like, yeah, that was one
melted snag, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. The schmegma.
All right, see you later, asshole.